Evan, an active-duty soldier deployed overseas for 8 long months, opens his phone during a rare break and freezes at the sight of a familiar name trending online. Kiara, his girlfriend back home, has posted a glowing announcement claiming she is 3 months pregnant. The timeline instantly rings alarm bells. He has been gone far longer than that. Within minutes, the post explodes across social media, gathering thousands of comments, theories, and accusations. One simple question rises to the top, repeated endlessly by strangers who don't even know them. Whose baby? The comment spreads like wildfire, turning a private relationship into a public spectacle. As screenshots circulate and speculation intensifies, Evan suddenly finds himself at the center of a scandal he never saw coming. The pregnancy post spreads faster than Kiara ever expected, igniting every corner of social media within hours. People begin dissecting every detail, from the lighting and pose in her photo to the suspiciously mismatched dates she wrote in the caption. Timeline sleuths compile screenshots, previous posts, and even old check-ins to prove that her claim cannot possibly be true. As the investigation grows, hashtags form, memes appear, and strangers begin narrating the drama as if it were their own late-night entertainment. Kiara panics, scrambling to delete the post, but it is already too late. Mirror uploads, screen captures, and stitched videos ensure that her announcement continues spreading even faster than before. Every attempt to retract the post only fuels the fire, making her look more guilty in the eyes of the public. Friends start messaging Evan's account, unsure whether to offer sympathy, outrage, or confusion. His commanders reach out through official channels, concerned by the sudden influx of calls to the base. Even soldiers who barely know him begin murmuring about the situation, repeating fragments of comments they saw online. Back home, Kiara's family becomes entangled in the chaos as neighbors, co-workers, and distant relatives bombard them with questions. Her mother, overwhelmed and visibly stressed, makes the mistake that sets the internet ablaze even more. During a shaky phone call, she slips and accidentally refers to someone named Derek while trying to explain the situation. The moment the name escapes her lips, everything changes. The comment is clipped, posted, and replayed thousands of times as online investigators latch onto the new clue. Who is Derek? Why would Kiara's mother mention him instead of Evan? Speculation turns ruthless, connecting dots that Kiara desperately wishes would stay hidden. Rumors intensify as people scour local social media for anyone named Derek who might fit into the story. Some claim to have spotted him in old group photos, standing too close to Kiara at a neighborhood barbecue months earlier. Others dig through tagged pictures and find subtle hints of a man lingering in the background of her posts. Theories multiply, and with each new thread, Kiara's carefully curated image unravels further. She tries to control the narrative by limiting comments and turning off replies, but screenshots of the original drama remain unstoppable. Every attempt at silence is twisted into evidence of guilt. Meanwhile, Evan watches from thousands of miles away, unable to intervene, trapped between duty and disbelief. His phone floods with messages from both supportive friends and gleeful onlookers who treat the unfolding mess like a serialized show. The question at the heart of everything grows louder, echoing across every platform. People are no longer just curious. They are invested, committed to uncovering the truth behind the viral pregnancy timeline. By the end of the day, the situation spirals so far out of control that even Kiara realizes she can no longer escape what she started. The shadow of the truth has finally appeared, and it refuses to be ignored. Kiara scrambles to regain control of the narrative, convinced she can still talk her way out of the disaster spiraling around her. She drafts a long, carefully staged apology note, claiming she simply typed 3 months instead of 3 weeks, blaming exhaustion, stress, and online pressure for the confusion. But the explanation barely lasts an hour before people begin pointing out glaring inconsistencies, comparing her past posts and highlighting obvious contradictions. Instead of backing down, Kiara doubles down, launching a shaky livestream where she cries, sniffles, and insists Evan has been emotionally neglectful during his deployment. She paints herself as a lonely girlfriend abandoned by a partner who never checks in, hoping sympathy will outweigh scrutiny. Yet the performance cracks almost immediately. Mid-rant, she accidentally calls out the name Derek, momentarily freezing before attempting to laugh it off as a slip of the tongue. Viewers capture the moment instantly, slowing the clip down, zooming in on her expression, and replaying it with captions that mock her poor improvisation skills. Within minutes, the comment sections fill with accusations, memes, and edits comparing her story to infamous cheating scandals. Kiara tries to recover by blaming anxiety and claiming she meant to say, Evan, but nobody believes her anymore. The internet has already decided that Derek is real and central to the truth she keeps trying to bury. As pressure mounts, her best friend Jade unexpectedly speaks out, tired of watching Kiara fabricate version after version of events. In a late-night post that quickly goes viral, Jade reveals that Kiara has been seeing Derek since May, slipping over to his place every time Evan was on base or busy. She explains how Kiara bragged about juggling the attention of both men, convinced she could keep the affair hidden indefinitely. Jade even shares messages, screenshots of conversations where Kiara complains about Evan's discipline, praises Derek's flattery, and hints that Evan's deployment made cheating too easy. The revelations demolish any remaining faith the public had in Kiara's explanations. Every attempt she makes to defend herself is instantly countered by evidence, commentary, or resurfaced posts that contradict her claims. Her apology note becomes a meme. Her live stream becomes a reaction template. Her denial becomes a punchline. Still, Kiara refuses to accept accountability. She begins spinning more elaborate stories, insisting Jade is jealous, Derek is just a friend, and Evan is somehow to blame for leaving her isolated. The excuses grow increasingly desperate, and each new lie only draws more eyes to the unraveling scandal. Meanwhile, Evan watches the chaos unfold from afar, stunned by the sheer magnitude of deception, and even more shocked by how boldly Kiara attempts to rewrite reality. He reads the messages, sees the clips, and scrolls through the evidence piling up. No matter how Kiara twists the story, the truth becomes clearer with every passing hour. The lies she builds are fragile, flimsy constructs, collapsing the moment they are exposed to public scrutiny. The path she chose, to deny, deflect, and manipulate, only propels the drama to heights she never imagined. And as the world continues dissecting every detail, Kiara's credibility dissolves entirely, leaving her trapped in a narrative she can no longer control. Derek finally steps into the chaos, sending Evan a message so brazen it shocks even those following the drama from afar. He tells Evan to let Kiara go and claims he is ready to step up as the father, as if the situation were a polite handoff instead of a betrayal. The tone is smug, possessive, and strangely triumphant, as though Derek believes he has won some twisted competition. Evan rereads the message in disbelief, stunned by the entitlement dripping from every word. Meanwhile, Kiara continues building her alternate reality, insisting she is the true victim in the unfolding scandal. Her mother joins the performance, angrily accusing Evan of abandoning a pregnant woman, conveniently ignoring the impossibility of the timeline. Together, they spin a narrative in which Evan is cold, irresponsible, and unworthy, hoping guilt and public sympathy will pressure him into submission. Instead, their story only fuels more ridicule online. Viewers begin parodying their accusations, creating mock interviews and comedy sketches imitating Kiara's trembling voice and her mother's exaggerated outrage. The internet becomes a theater, and the pair's attempts to shame Evan transform into entertainment for millions. Things escalate even further when Kiara's newly hired lawyer sends Evan a list of demands, so absurd it becomes instant meme material. She requests monthly financial support, a share of his house, full coverage of medical costs, and a public apology for emotional damages. There is even a suggestion that Evan should pay for therapy she claims she needs due to deployment loneliness. The demands are posted online, whether leaked or intentionally shared, and the internet erupts in disbelief. People begin calculating the audacity required to ask a deployed soldier to bankroll the consequences of an affair. Comment sections fill with jokes comparing Kiara's legal strategy to attempted robbery in broad daylight. As the backlash intensifies, Kiara tries once again to control the narrative by posting a TikTok that sends the situation into an entirely new level of absurdity. Wearing dramatic makeup and using melancholic background music, she refers to herself as a deployment widow, implying she has been left to fend for herself as though Evan were deceased. The phrasing alone detonates the internet. Veterans, military spouses, and even active-duty personnel flood the comments with outrage, disbelief, and sharp criticism. Others turn the moment into a comedic spectacle, remixing her video into memes, duets, and reaction edits mocking the melodrama. Within hours, the term becomes a trending insult tied to her name, a label she can never escape. Every attempt Kiara makes to push responsibility onto Evan only cements her reputation as manipulative and delusional. Derek's involvement, instead of stabilizing her story, exposes the extent of their shared arrogance. Their messages, their accusations, and their demands reveal a level of shamelessness that fascinates and horrifies the online audience. Evan, powerless from afar, watches their behavior escalate into something almost surreal. The more Kiara and Derek speak, the clearer it becomes that they are willing to rewrite reality itself to avoid accountability. By the end of this phase, the drama transforms from scandal to spectacle, with Kiara and Derek cast as villains in their own story. Their shamelessness exceeds anything the internet expected, pushing the unfolding saga into a realm of disbelief where truth seems stranger than fiction. Evan requests emergency leave after enduring days of public humiliation, unanswered questions, and the relentless spread of Kiara's lies. The moment he steps off the plane, the contrast between military structure and the chaos waiting at home feels jarring. He drives straight to his house, hoping at least the walls he owns will offer some sense of stability. But as he pushes open the front door, he freezes. Derek is standing in his living room as if he belongs there, wearing one of Evan's shirts and holding a mug Evan bought on his first deployment. Clothes that aren't his are strewn around the couch. Shoes he doesn't recognize are by the door. Laundry baskets and scattered belongings make it look like Derek has been living there for weeks. The stench of unfamiliar cologne hangs in the air. On the refrigerator, taped with cheerful magnets, are printed ultrasound photos of a baby that cannot possibly be his. The neat handwriting on the notes beside them says "Dad," with arrows pointing to Derek's name. Evan feels his chest tighten, not with heartbreak, but with a cold, controlled anger he rarely permits himself to experience. He moves through the house silently, observing each sign of intrusion, each detail proving how thoroughly his life was occupied without his consent. In the bedroom, he finds a pregnancy journal lying open on the bedspread. Inside are pages of Kiara's handwriting outlining her plan to secure long-term support by announcing a pregnancy, manipulating timelines, and making Evan feel obligated. There are notes about Derek, too, how he was more fun, less strict, and willing to help with the plan if needed. The reality of the scheme becomes undeniable. When Kiara and Derek finally arrive home, they act as if Evan is the one intruding. Kiara bursts into dramatic tears on command, insisting everything is a misunderstanding, begging him to talk like adults. Derek tries to appear calm, stepping between them as if he's the protector, mumbling rehearsed lines about giving Kiara stability. Every sentence they speak contradicts the last, a tangled web of improvisation and lies. Evan listens without reacting, letting them talk themselves deeper into contradiction. The situation escalates when Kiara claims Evan has no right to kick them out because she is a pregnant woman in need of a home. She argues that Derek is staying as her support partner, a phrase so rehearsed it sounds like a social media slogan. But reality intervenes in the form of two police officers responding to a property check request Evan filed before landing. The officers confirm immediately that Evan is the legal homeowner. They inspect documents, review IDs, and ask simple questions Kiara and Derek fail to answer consistently. Within minutes, the officers instruct them to gather their belongings and leave the property. Kiara protests loudly, accusing everyone of cruelty. Derek tries to argue, but shrinks under the calm firmness of the officers. As they are escorted out, Kiara wails that Evan is ruining her life, while Derek mutters curses under his breath. Evan remains silent, watching as the chaos finally exits the space that should have always been his sanctuary. For the first time since the scandal began, the truth stands unchallenged, solid and undeniable. The home is his again, and the lies that invaded it have been forced out into the daylight. Kiara and Derek are forced to leave Evan's house with whatever they can carry, stepping into a world eager to judge them. Their fall from comfort is immediate. Neighbors who once greeted them politely now whisper openly, shaking their heads as the couple drags bags down the driveway. Within days, both lose their jobs. Employers cite unprofessional conduct and public controversy after being flooded with clips, screenshots, and messages from strangers exposing the scandal. Kiara's workplace removes her from staff pages, while Derek's manager sends him a curt email informing him his services are no longer needed. Their families, already exhausted by the embarrassment, distance themselves quickly. Kiara's mother stops answering her calls, finally admitting she is tired of covering for her lies. Derek's mother demands he leave the small rental room he had been using, furious that he brought humiliation onto the family name. Suddenly homeless, the two bounce between cheap motels, borrowed couches, and nights in Derek's old, beat-up car. The internet shows them no mercy. Clips of Kiara's deployment widow video continue to circulate with millions of views, cementing her as a cautionary tale of manipulation. Their attempts to gain sympathy fail spectacularly. Desperate to repair their image, Kiara goes to Evan's military base, hopping to file a complaint accusing him of mistreatment. Security stops her before she even reaches the front desk, recognizing her instantly from viral posts. She is escorted off the premises, while a few soldiers film from a distance, their quiet laughter later becoming yet another trending sound. In a last-ditch effort to gain financial support, Kiara and Derek create an online fundraising page titled, "Help a Betrayed Military Mom and Her Baby." Their description paints Evan as a heartless soldier who abandoned them both. But the internet, already familiar with the truth, mocks the campaign relentlessly. Some donate a single dollar just to leave sarcastic messages. When the fundraiser stalls at a humiliating $37, they delete it in embarrassment, but screenshots live on forever. Hopping for legal leverage, Kiara files for common-law marriage, insisting that she and Evan live together long enough to qualify. The request is reviewed briefly and denied almost instantly. Officials cite clear evidence that Evan was deployed for most of the alleged timeframe and that Kiara had been cohabiting with Derek instead. As the denial spreads online, commentators gleefully dissect every detail, turning the legal rejection into another wave of memes. Derek attempts to salvage their finances by picking up gig work, but every job ends quickly. People recognize him, film him, and post mocking videos until employers decide he is bad publicity. Kiara tries to return to social media to rebrand herself, but any new account is immediately flooded with comments reminding her of the scandal. Every lie she told has transformed into a permanent digital shadow she cannot outrun. Their world shrinks as opportunities dry up, friends vanish, and the community refuses to engage with them beyond ridicule. The consequences they once believed they could avoid finally crash down with full force, leaving them isolated, unstable, and desperately clinging to each other as everything else collapses. Derek begins unraveling first, buckling under the weight of financial strain, public humiliation, and the relentless pressure of Kiara's demands. He stops sleeping, packing in cramped motel rooms, convinced every whisper outside the door is someone recording them. After several panic episodes, he collapses during a night shift at a temporary warehouse job. The hospital bills reach $3,000, an impossible amount for someone who can barely afford gas. Kiara pretends to comfort him, but her eyes are cold, already calculating how to shift responsibility away from herself. Instead of getting help, she downloads Tinder, hoping to find someone new who might offer stability. Her attempts backfire instantly when users on the app recognize her from viral videos. Screenshots of her profile spread quickly, exposing her bio where she hints she is open to letting a good man step into a father role. One match reveals she brought up adoption within minutes of chatting, asking if he would be willing to raise a child as his own on the first date. People react with horror and ridicule, turning her messages into yet another meme cycle. As her reputation deteriorates, doors close everywhere she turns. Family refuses contact. Old friends block her. Online communities track every move she makes, leaving her nowhere to hide. Financial disaster worsens as the couple burns through their remaining savings on motels, takeout meals, and rideshare trips to avoid being seen in public. Credit cards max out. Derek's car breaks down, leaving them stuck in a parking lot for an entire night as rain leaks through the cracked roof. Kiara's pregnancy progresses without stability, support, or proper medical care. She gives birth in a crowded, understaffed hospital where no one comes to visit. Derek sits in the corner of the room, distant and exhausted, staring at the newborn with suspicion rather than affection. He mutters under his breath that the baby doesn't even look like him, planting seeds of resentment that soon grow into open hostility. Arguments erupt daily, fueled by sleepless nights, mounting debt, and the crushing realization that their entire lives have spiraled beyond repair. Kiara lashes out, accusing Derek of weakness, claiming he should man up and take responsibility for the child. Derek snaps back, insisting she trapped him just as she tried to trap Evan. Their fights become so loud that neighboring tenants call security multiple times. The final blow comes when new screenshots emerge showing Kiara messaging yet another man, someone named Marcus, during the final months of her pregnancy. The messages reveal flirtation, desperation, and vague promises that she could start fresh with him once the baby arrives. Derek's reaction is immediate and explosive. He storms out, refusing to return, abandoning Kiara and the child in a cramped room paid for with borrowed money. Kiara tries to chase him, but exhaustion and the weight of consequence pull her down. She is left holding a newborn she cannot afford, in a life she can no longer control, surrounded by the ruins of choices she refused to own. Her downfall is complete, public, painful, and irreversible. The world that once ignored her now remembers her only as a symbol of deception, chaos, and self-destruction. Evan rebuilds his life with quiet determination, focusing on his career, his health, and the freedom of finally being free from chaos. He renovates his home, turning it into a peaceful space untouched by the turmoil of the past year. For the first time in a long while, he sleeps without checking his phone in fear of another viral explosion. He begins dating someone new, someone grounded, supportive, and far removed from the manipulative world Kiara created. Their relationship grows slowly and steadily, rooted in honesty rather than drama. Evan even rents out his house to a military family he trusts, ensuring his home remains safe and respected. Meanwhile, the internet transforms him into an unexpected legend. Memes about deployment math circulate endlessly, turning his pain into a symbol of resilience and humor shared across platforms. Though he never participates in the jokes, he smiles when he sees them, grateful that the world ultimately recognized the truth. One evening, Kiara sends him a final, rambling message filled with regret and longing. Evan reads it once, feeling no anger, only distance. He replies with the same question that began the entire saga. Whose life? Then he blocks her permanently, closing the last door to a chapter he will never revisit.